Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We shall chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verses 67 to 72.
Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano vidhiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayurnavamivambhasi tasmadyasya mahabaho निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जाग्रति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः आपूर्यमाणमचलप्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान् पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति येषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति.
So in the beginning of this portion, from verse 54 till 58, the question about Sthita Prajna was asked by Arjuna, and Sri Krishna answered those questions. Please describe a Sthita Prajna, a man of perfection, and what is his state of mind, and would he contact the world, and what would be the impact of the world upon Sthita Prajna, and how would he express, having reached the infinity, how would he express the infinity through the finite? These were the questions Arjuna asked. And then Sri Krishna said, Asthita Prajna is one who has identified with the Atma and not the body, mind and intellect fully. So as a result, the truth from within is absolutely revealed in him or her. So such a person, having identified with the infinite, is never dependent on the finite, and he has no desires in the realm of the finite, because he is already full. When one is full, there is no desire. So all his actions would not be propelled by desires, would not be propelled by want. It will always be propelled by fullness, which is love. You understand? So there is one way of functioning which is propelled by desire, wanting something. I am lacking something, I want something, so I do some action to fulfill my desires. Other is, I am full, I don't want anything, I am paripurna, but still I function because I am grateful, I am compassionate, I am loving and caring. Do you understand? So that's functioning from a higher level. So that is how Asthita Prajna functions. So he says Asthita Prajna is one who does not have any desires, who does not have any desires does not mean that person is indifferent. Asthita prajna is detached, independent. Now, if he is independent, will he or her have emotions? He says, of course he will have emotions, but he will not be emotional. And would he contact the world? In fact, he will contact the world very dynamically than you and me. See, when we have ego, our productivity reduces. For example, generally a person may be a chatterbox. You understand chatterbox? Going on talking, never stops. Very difficult to stop him. You give him a podium, he fumbles. Isn't it? Why? Because he has become self-conscious. He has become egoistic. Isn't it? He might have prepared. He may be a very good speaker. But the fact that on the stage he became egoistic, he became self-conscious, he can't speak. Isn't it? So what is happening? His productivity is not coming out. Why? Because of his ego, because of his self-consciousness. Once you drop that ego, tremendous productivity comes out of you. You understand? So you will be like driving the car with your handbrakes released. Otherwise, when you are functioning with your ego, you understand, it's like driving the car with your handbrakes on. When it is fully on, it may not move. But when it's not fully released, little bit on, the car may go, but there will be a lot of noise, sound. We are all functioning like that with ego. Therefore, what is happening? Our full potential is not manifesting 100%. Are you with me? So, when a self-realized soul, enlightened person has identified with the Atma within, he has no ego self. The little self called the ego self is dissolved. Are you with me? He has become one with the total, and therefore he will or she will express brilliantly. That's why he says, Yaha sarvatra anabhisneha tattat prapya shubhashubham na abhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. Such a person, when he contacts the world so dynamically, sometimes there are good things he gets as a result, sometimes he gets bad things as a result. Shubha, Ashubha, it doesn't affect him. The world cannot impact him. His work is not propelled or he is not enthusiastic because he is getting nice rewards. For him, giving himself is enjoyable. He is full. He doesn't want anything. There is no expectation whatsoever. You understand? He just wants to go, give and move. Like beautifully in the poem Daffodils, William Wordsworth says, he compares a karma yogi. He compares a karma yogi to clouds. He says, I wandered lonely as a cloud. The cloud wanders lonely, he says. Lonely means alone. Alone means what? When we separate ourselves from the total and assume an individuality, then there are too many people. You understand? Then if I segregate myself from the total, then there is loneliness. Are you with me? But when I identify with the Atma in every being, the consciousness in every being, then I become one with everyone. That is also one, but that is alone. The other one is lonely. So he says, I wandered lonely. He's using the word lonely, but what he means is alone. Understand? And wandering means not attached. And how he is wandering alone as a cloud. Wherever the cloud goes, it gives rain. Right? Whether you say thank you, you don't say thank you, cloud doesn't wait, simply gives rain. That's it. Similarly, a perfect human being has zero expectations. You understand? Out of love, out of compassion, he or she just gives. Whatever is their natural talent, their dharma, their nature, they express. And different Mahatmas express their nature differently. Swami Ram Tirtha lectured brilliantly. See, by the way, Swami Ram Tirtha is one of the greatest saints this country has ever produced. Okay. Our Guruji Swami Parthasarthi and most of us who follow him are all very much inspired by him. And he has lectured across the world, and 100 years ago, he made a lot of impact in the West. And when somebody had written down his lectures, transcribed his lectures, and said you should publish it, he threw it in the ocean and said, Vedanta doesn't require Ram Tirtha. It will somehow reach people. Okay. And he didn't build any institute. Right. He inspired Swamiji to build the institute. And the name Swami Ram Tirtha uses in his lectures, and that's what Swamiji has kept. Vedanta Cultural Foundation, Vedanta Life Institute, etc. So that Swami Ram Tirtha's Pratishthan is there in Lucknow. We went there yesterday, I think. It was locked. So what I am trying to say is, he is not known. Right? He didn't care whether I will be known in future or not. He didn't want anything also. Even his name, he didn't want to be famous. Somebody transcribed and said, please publish the book. He said, throw it. But somebody somehow, whatever notes was available, with that they have published. There is 7 volumes of Swami Ram Tirtha's lectures. It's called In Woods of God Realization. Anything worthy will not be left alone. You understand? Swamiji quotes this. He very often says, a stone that is fit for the wall would not be found on the way. A stone that is fit for the wall would not be found on the way. So he dynamically lectured. He didn't want anything. Like that Swami, Saint Tyagaraya sang and sang and sang. So everybody, they express their nature in their own way. You understand? Wanting nothing, but going on acting dynamically with zero attachment productively. People criticize them, people appreciate them, it meant nothing. Their reward, their enthusiasm was coming from doing, giving and moving. No expectations. And that's how Sthita Prajna functions. Now I told you, whatever is the natural quality of a Sthita Prajna becomes a sadhana for us. In today's world, what happens is, even parents, when they bring up their own kids whom they brought into the world, and they are doing their activities, but there is expectation that when they grow up, I hope they will do this to us, they will take care of us. You should not have it even with your kids, children. Simply do it. So, the point is, that is how Mahatmas function. And when they move about in the world, he compared such a person with Kurmonganiva Sarvashaha. He said Kurma. Kurma means what? Tortoise. Like how the tortoise moves very carefully, when any danger comes for the awareness, quickly withdraws all the protrusions under the hard shell. Similarly, Sthita Prajna, whose intellect is constantly identified with the Atma, with that awareness of the self, he moves about in the world. Any danger comes, he quickly withdraws. Like NRI in Dubai, I gave that example. Even if you are born and brought up in Dubai, you will have passport of India only. You understand? You will have Indian passport issued in Dubai, and you will be constantly aware that I am an Indian living in Dubai. Within you, it's there. I must follow the laws of Dubai, otherwise I will be punished. And it's a beautiful country. I enjoy myself as long as I am following the laws. You understand? So, constantly I will be remembering. Similarly, a self-realized soul will be functioning as NRS, non-resident self. You understand? I am expressing myself through this body, expressing myself through this mind, myself through this intellect, myself through this role. Between 6:30 and 7:30, I am playing the role of a teacher, talking. Right? Some other time I am playing the role of a father, son, whatever, right? So, constantly remembering, being aware of the self spontaneously and functioning. Any danger comes for the awareness, quickly withdraws. It happens spontaneously in a Sthita Prajna. For us, it has to happen with effort. That is a sadhana for us. You understand? So, you have to have a goal. The highest goal is self-realization. You have to reduce it to your level, self-development. Keeping that in mind, your intellect should be focused on self-development, and then you should function. Any danger comes for your self-development, you withdraw. Anything that helps in progressing, in growing, you say yes. Anything that will take you away, you say no. I gave the example of Hanumanji, I think. He puts the mala to his ears which was given to him. He didn't say Lord Ram, he threw it away. You understand? That's how Asthita Prajna functions. And then this he concluded in 58th shloka. Then 59 we have seen till 66. He emphasizes on getting this knowledge established. See, from verse number 11 till 58, he has been giving knowledge. Now we have got the information. I said yesterday that ignorance manifests in three ways. I don't know, I don't understand, I have no experience. I don't know, sorted out. I have come to know now. I don't understand will also be sorted out if you reflect upon what you received as information. Right? By questioning and all that. Now, after all that, you are only told that you are Atma and you also understand why they say. All the logic, reason, everything you understand. But has it come in your experience? Are you functioning as Atma? Expressing through this body? No. So, you have to do sadhana for that. That last phase of ignorance. I don't have experience has to remove. It has to be removed. How? By Nididhyasana. Through Vedantic meditation. What is that? Soaking yourself in this knowledge. For that you have to protect yourself with what? Sense control and mind control. Sense control is called as Dhamma and mind control is called as Shama. Without sense control, without mind control, the self from within will not reveal itself. You understand? So he was emphasizing that. You have to follow sense control. If your senses are not under control, it will draw the mind away. When the mind is drawn away, what will happen? It will draw the intellect away. There is another beautiful poem by William Cowper. It's called Pineapple and the Bee. In that poem, in the concluding lines, the poet says, our dear delights are often such, exposed to view but not to touch. The sight our foolish heart inflames, we long for pineapples in frames. You know, he talks about a pineapple vendor who's cut the pineapples and nicely arranged them in triple row and is covered it up with glass case. And a bee is trying to enter and eat it, but the glass case is preventing. So like that, we are, without deserving, we are craving for things that we don't deserve. We are functioning like the bee. You know, he compares. So the poet says, our dear delights are often such, exposed to view but not to touch. What does it mean? You have to deserve it. Swamiji has very nicely summarized by saying, you get what you deserve, not what you desire. You get what you deserve, not what you desire. So, this is what the poet is saying. And then, with hope, our dear delights are often such, exposed to view, not to touch. The sight our foolish heart inflames. We long for pineapples in frames. The moment we see the pineapple, pineapple means any object of your attraction. What happens? Your mind is drawn. I want that pineapple. My awareness is gone. Where am I sitting? What am I doing? I am sitting here and listening to the class, but my mind is gone to pineapple because I mentioned pineapple. You understand? So he says, the sight our foolish heart inflames. We long for pineapples in frames. Mind is gone with the senses. Even more powerful is your ears. You understand? Something you heard many years ago may be sitting and disturbing you now. Isn't it? So, every perception goes in and disturbs us. So, it takes away the mind. And when the mind is got distracted, your awareness is gone, your buddhi is gone, your discriminating ability is gone. Therefore, it is extremely important. You need to follow sadhana. Otherwise, this information will go waste. Like water sprinkled on a hot plate. When you sprinkle water on a hot plate, what happens? It evaporates. Whatever we heard till now, it will all go away. So that's why we say, you have to follow it up with daily study and weekly classes. You understand? This tradition was started by Swami Chinmayananda ji. We all are eternally grateful to such Mahatmas. He didn't want anything. He started this Gita Jnana Yajna in different centers. Everywhere Yajna means they were only doing fire worship, rituals, but knowledge was not going in. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, he talks about Jnana Yajna in the 4th chapter. So, he used that. He said, Gita Jnana Yajna. He started that in different cities. And then his disciples were conducting weekly classes. You understand? So, why? Because once you have lit the light, you have to constantly keep pouring the oil and changing the wick. Otherwise, light will go away. Isn't it? So, we have to now continuously do sadhana. What is that? Sense control, mind control. Otherwise, what will happen? Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodod bijayate krodat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibramaha smriti bramshat buddhinashaha buddhinashat pranashyati. He said that in 62nd and 63rd shlokas. When your mind has gone to the object of the desire, right? Attachment comes. Then desire comes. When the desire is interrupted, anger comes. When the desire is fulfilled, he doesn't say that. But when the desire is fulfilled, what happens? Greed comes. Dil mange more. You want more and more. Or fear comes. Whatever I achieved may be taken away from me. You understand? So greed, fear, and you compare yourself with somebody who has more than you. Then what happens? Jealous. You compare someone who has less than you have arrogance. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, Bhaya, Moha, delusion, all comes. You get into anger when somebody interrupts. Or when it's fulfilled, you get fear, which is also disturbance. Right? And in such situation, you go through delusion. You lose your discriminating ability. Your knowledge is gone. Smriti goes when you are in delusion. Smriti Bramshat, Buddhi Nashaha. Your discriminating capacity goes. Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati. What differentiates us from the animals? Intellect. If that intellect is gone, everything is gone. You understand? So therefore he says Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati. And in the very first class itself I said Buddhi means intellect. Intelligence is an aspect of intellect. You understand? And intelligence is important. Buddhi, intellect is essential. Please understand. Okay? So he said this is what will happen. But if you control your senses, right? But if you control your senses, what will happen? Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyaischaran atma vashyehi videhayatma prasadam adhigacchati. He said after 62, 63, in 64 he said this. What did he say? If you control your likes and dislikes, meaning sense control. You don't contact anything propelled by your likes and dislikes. You contact everything propelled by your buddhi, intellect. Right? So, having likes and dislikes, nothing wrong. But likes and dislikes should not control you. You should be controlling the likes and dislikes. And when you contact without likes and dislikes, but with your buddhi, then after contacting you may linger in it. That is mind lingering, no? So you have to control that also. That is mind control. You understand? So Atma Vashyehi, controlling the senses. Videgi Atma, controlling the mind. Both are self-control. Self-control means sense control and mind control. So if you practice that, what you will get? Prasadam. Prasadam means peace of mind, tranquil mind, ability to concentrate, ability to focus. And once you pay attention, the more you develop the ability to pay attention, it's a question of time you will become successful. What is the secret of success? Paying attention. Which he calls in the Bhagavad Gita in the 9th chapter, 22nd shloka, Ananya Chinta. Chinta means thought. Anya Chinta means other thought. Ananya Chinta means no other thought. Single pointed focus. You understand? So with that focus if you apply, you may be a genius, you may be a highly talented person, but you need focus. Then only you can succeed. You understand? It is very easy to get distracted. World will throw a lot of things, but that's the challenge you have to take up. I will develop this strength. So he says, if you are controlled, you will get prasadam. And then he says in 65, prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate prasanna chetaso yashuhu buddhi paryavatishtate. In peace all his sorrows are destroyed. The intellect of the tranquil minded soon becomes steady. So what happens when you become peaceful? All distractions, sorrows are gone. Then your intellect is steady, steadily focusing. And when you are steadily focusing, you are controlling and directing your desires. When you control and direct your desires, what happens? Two things happen. What? You will be fulfilling your desires. At the same time, you won't be creating fresh desires. I told you, when you linger, you will create desires. You made sure that your contact is not because of your sense, likes and dislikes. But after contacting, if you linger, by constantly thinking, you will form vasanas. You understand? Desires will again increase. So what we are doing today is, we are working, fulfilling desires maybe, but we are also simultaneously creating more and more desires. So that is why I said yesterday, tomorrow I will talk about happiness formula, happiness quotient. What is that? Can we put it up in the board? So happiness formula is given by Swamiji in the commentary on this shloka, 65th shloka in his Bhagavad Gita book. What is that? Happiness is the ratio between the number of desires fulfilled to the number of desires entertained. Number of desires fulfilled in the numerator, number of desires entertained in the denominator. If you fulfill 10 desires, but you increase 100 desires, what is the formula for happiness for you? Ratio, 10 by 100. What is that? 1 by 10. So 1/10 of happiness only you will get. Are you with me? But if you fulfill 10 desires, you have increased only 2 desires. Then 10 by 2, 5, whole number you get. Your happiness has increased. And if you fulfill 10 desires or 100 desires, but 0 desires you entertain, anything divided by 0 is what? Anything divided by 0? Infinite. Anything divided by 0 is infinite. So it doesn't matter how many desires you fulfill, but if you made sure that you don't entertain any fresh desire, you will be in infinite happiness. You understand? So what we have to do is, we have to make sure that we bring the senses and mind under the control of the intellect and then act. So that way when we focus and act, we will be fulfilling lot of desires. Numerator will be taken care of. And the fact that after contacting, we don't indulge in the thought, in the contact, we won't be creating fresh desires. So the denominator is also taken care of. Our happiness starts increasing. Do you get this? This is the formula. This he gave in 65. And then in 66 he said, if you do not have intellect, strong intellect, you will neither have knowledge nor meditation, and you will lose peace, and for the peaceless, how can there be happiness? This much we have seen. We will continue now. 67.
इन्द्रियाणां हि चरतां यन्मनोनुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावमिवाम्भसि.
Now, he said before, the senses that draws the mind away, he says. If the senses are not controlled, it will draw the mind away. He said that in verse 60. Now he continues from there. In between he spoke about the importance of strengthening the intellect through sense control and mind control. Now he says, if the mind is drawn away, what will it do? He is explaining that. For the mind which follows the roving senses carries away his intellect, buddhi, as the wind carries away a boat on water. He gives a beautiful example. With the example, he is explaining. See, one of the ways of gaining knowledge is comparison. Right? So he is doing that. So he says, if the senses are not controlled, it will draw the mind away. He said that in verse 60. If the mind is drawn, what will it do? It will draw the intellect also. That's why we say, no, many times, I should have not said that. You are regretting. Which means what? At that time you didn't have this buddhi. At that time you got involved. You didn't have the buddhi. Correct? Now it's available, but damage is already done. So therefore he is saying, if the mind is drawn away by the senses, it will draw the intellect like the wind. Passions of the mind is compared to the wind. And the boat is you and me, the individual. The individual personality will be completely collapsed. The boat will be toppled and it will go into the ocean. It will sink instead of beautifully sailing. You understand? And the captain of the ship, all that he is not saying, but you must understand, the captain of the ship is the buddhi. You understand? And the mariner's compass is the shastra, scriptures. They direct you. Mariner's compass always points towards the north. Similarly, the scriptures always direct you towards the Atma, the self. You understand? So, the captain, with the help of the mariner's compass, should direct the boat towards the harbor of peace. Meditation, harbor of meditation. And through that harbor, you go to the city, Atma. You understand? Otherwise, what will happen? The mind, the wind will completely make your personality sink. This is what is happening. So he is slowly concluding. He is taking us to conclusion by giving this example, saying be careful. Right? Without wind, you know, when you have this yacht and all, you need wind, no? And you use the wind and you take the boat towards the shore, the other side. Right? So, now, that wind is helpful. But if the wind becomes too much, uncontrollable, then what happens? Are you with me? So, you need desires. Otherwise, it's difficult. Only the difference is, in us, it's called desire. In the Mahatmas, it's called love. Are you with me? So, these desires that we have, they are out of lacking. Those desires the Mahatmas have, which is not out of lacking, out of fullness. Therefore, it is called love. That's the difference. You understand? So, it is under their control. The mind is under their control. Say they beautifully take the individuality from the shore of mortality to the shore of immortality. They can guide us. That's why we say we should take the guidance of a guru. You understand? But in our case, we allow the mind to become extremely passionate. Go on feeding our likes and dislikes. Then it becomes very, very turbulent. And then what it will do? Even whatever little you studied in the Gita class, whatever you've been lecturing, nothing will be available to you. Buddhinashar pranashyati. So, Now he is going to slowly conclude in 68th shloka. He has been talking about the importance of sense control, mind control, nididhyasana, developing the intellect. Now he is concluding that. Verse 68.
तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
Tasmat. Tasmat means therefore. Like in maths, what do? You say therefore LHS is equal to RHS. Left hand side is equal to right hand side. You conclude. After going through all the steps carefully, using all the formulas logically, arriving at a conclusion, you say therefore. Similarly, after giving all the logic and reason, Sri Krishna very patiently having given all the logic and reason, explaining everything step by step by step, he is now concluding. So he says, Tasmat, therefore, O Mahabaho, O mighty armed Arjuna. See, in any communication, 95% or 99% is psychology. 1% or 5% only information. In marketing also, when you go to meet somebody, obviously you are going to market your product, but straight away you don't talk about your product. You say, sir, how are you? You look great, you seem to be doing good, better than before. How's your family? Your room seems to be very nicely kept now. Lot more things you have brought in. Excellent, I will also follow something. What are you doing? Preparing the soil. Isn't it? Then you sow the seed. Straight away if you go and say, what will happen? You need psychology first. Even when we are discussing, sometimes we say, I agree with you. But actually you are not agreeing. You say, I agree with you. But the moment you said, I agree with you, he is okay. Because you have not hurt his ego. Then when you say, even if you contradict that person, he will agree with you. Or at least he will listen to you. You get it? So psychology is 95% or 99%. Only 1% message. So Sri Krishna is using that psychology. He is telling Arjuna, you are a Mahabaho man. You are a mighty armed person. You should be using that strength to build the intellect, to strengthen the intellect. It should be available 24/7, 365 days. So work on that. दूसरों को जय से पहले खुद को जय करे. Work on yourself. You understand? First, when you go in the aircraft also, what do they say? At times when there is emergency, oxygen mask will drop down. You help yourself first and then help others. Otherwise, you will be choking, lacking oxygen, and you will kill the other fellow also, as you are trying to help that fellow. You understand? So first you protect yourself with oxygen mask. Then you can help the other fellow. So first you have to make sure that your intellect is strong. Without making sure your intellect is strong, you want to help others, how will it be useful? You understand? So this is not selfish. This is taking care of your self-interest, making you strong. See, a coconut tree, first 3 years to 5 years, it will go on taking from the society, from the soil. Nourish itself, become strong. Then it will be till death continuously giving coconut. You understand? So initially you go to school, you go to college, you go to this kind of lectures or read books, go on taking, your parents, your society takes care of you. But once you have gone through all the education that is possible by you, once you have become strong, now it's your duty to start contributing till death. In some way or the other. You understand? That's how it should be. So think in terms of contributing. Duty, not rights. Wherever the rights come, it's gone. Whatever relationship it may be. Whether husband and wife, father, son, doesn't matter. So, he says, Tasmat, O Mahabaho, O mighty armed Arjuna, what you have to do? Nigrihitani. He says, Nigrihitani sarvashaha. Meaning what? All the senses. O Mahabaho, his wisdom is said to be established. whose senses are completely restrained from the sense objects. I told you yesterday, food should be on the plate or in your pate or in the refrigerator. It should not be in your head. That's all he is saying. When he says completely restrained from the sense objects, what he is trying to say is mind and your senses should not be constantly dwelling upon those sense objects. When it is required, you contact. Before and after, not thinking about it. You understand? That's called sense control. Wherever you have to contact, you can't live without contacting. It's impractical. When you live in the world, you have to contact. Right? And you avoid certain things which you should not contact. But in spite of you wishing not to contact it, sometimes it comes and falls on your ears. You can't help it. Isn't it? You don't want to keep in touch with a certain company which will be detrimental for your intellect and awareness, for your growth. Right? But you can't avoid it. When you are living in a society, when you are working in an organization, some people will gossip, some people will do things. You can't help. It will come into your ears. But what you have to do? Observe. Right? Don't go along with it. Acha, uske baad kya hua? Then gone, finished. Then boat will be toppled. You understand? So that's what he's saying. Tasmat o Mahabaho, mighty armed Arjuna, his wisdom is established whose senses are completely restrained from the sense objects. So what is the definition of perfection he is giving? He is not giving any perfection definition externally, because there is no definition for perfection externally. See, there was an episode between Birbal and Akbar. And we all know this. Akbar drew a line on the board and told Birbal to make it short without touching it. Right? And what did Birbal do? He drew another bigger line. Then the line drawn by the Emperor Akbar became short. So in external world, there is no such thing as perfection. In the sense, now this auditorium is beautifully cleaned. In fact, they had an event till about 5:45 or so. And very quickly they have cleaned up and everything they have done. Right? We are grateful to them. Now, even though it is so clean, you can't say it's 100% clean. There may be another place which is much cleaner than this. Even that you can't say, you can constantly keep on improving, isn't it? In fact, when you become perfect to some extent, from there you will start seeing subtle dirts, which were not visible before. So, constantly we got to keep on cleansing. Understand? So that's why I say, once you've decided to be a Vedantin, you have decided to become a scavenger. In the sense, you got to constantly clean yourself. When you are constantly cleaning yourself, you have no time to talk anything negative about anybody. If you are not doing it, then we will do all that. You understand? So he says, sense control. Internally there is perfection. There is no perfection externally. Internally there is perfection. He has put the pointer internally. Sense control, mind control. That is perfection. Continue. 69th shloka, 272nd shloka. He is again talking about Sthita Prajna's Lakshana, state. Till now he talked sadhana, how to establish yourself in that knowledge. Now he is again going back to Sthita Prajna Lakshana from a different way. That's all. Continue.
या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः.
It's an outstanding shloka. We can talk on this shloka for one full day also. But unfortunately, we have to talk on this shloka in the very given time, very little time we have. But as I said, you can go on studying, reflecting, So you have time that way. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami. Samyami means Yama means what? Control. Samyama means well controlled. Who is he referring to by the word samyami? Who is well controlled? Sthita prajna, self-realized soul, whose senses are well controlled. Right. So he says, Ya Nisha. Nisha, you know, night. So he says, Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam, that which is night to all beings. Tasyam Jagarti Samyami. Samyami, the well-controlled person, therein the self-controlled one keeps awake. So, in other words, what is night for all of us is day for him. Okay? Then, that in which beings are awake, Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani, that in which beings are awake is night to the sage who sees. Sa Nisha Pashyato Munehe. For the sage who sees means who is having the buddhi, who is awakened, who is aware. So what he is saying is, that which is night for us is day for him. And that which is day for us is night for him. You think till now he was talking normally. Suddenly what has happened to Sri Krishna? We think like that. What is he talking, man? He wants to say such statements because just in case the teacher was so boring and the students had gone to sleep, then the teacher will make some statements like this so that you wake up. You understand? Suddenly. So what is he trying to say? It is not without meaning. Deep statement he is making. See, all of us are seeing the world, plurality, because we see the body, we see the mind, we see the intellect, then identify, usko ek naam diya, hai na? Body, mind, intellect, enlivened by Atma in one form is Lakshmi Narayan. In another form is Shalini. In another form is Vishal, X, Y, Z. Hai na? So what is happening is, normal people who are lost in the world, they are all seeing Nama Rupa, different names and forms. But what is the Mahatma who is woken up seeing? Not the Nama Rupa. He is seeing the consciousness, that is the substratum, Atma. You understand? Does it mean that he will not see the differences? He will see the differences, but he will understand that as what? Nothing but consciousness expressing in different ways. There's a beautiful bhajan we sing in the ashram. Govinda Rama, Jai Jai Gopala Rama. Govinda Rama, Jai Jai Gopala Rama. Madhava Rama, Jai Jai Keshava Rama. Madhava Rama, Jai Jai Keshava Rama. Govinda Rama, Jai Jai Gopala Rama. It goes on. Means what? Only one Ram. It's called Govinda. It's called Keshava, Madhava. You understand? Many names. Only one, which has become many. So, in that which we are sleeping, meaning we don't have the vision of oneness, we are all asleep when it comes to consciousness. But we are all awake when it comes to Nama Rupa. There he is sleeping. You understand? That's what he is saying. And this awareness is maintained 24/7. 24/7 he is in this spirit, in this Nama Rupa. Sorry, in this consciousness. We are in Nama Rupa. And the interesting thing is, even in sleep, you understand, their consciousness is always there, aware. In us also it's there, but they maintain the awareness. See, it is said about Mahavirji, you know, incidentally, Mahavirji, what is his original name? Vardhaman. You know? Correct? Vardhaman. And Mahavirji, how was he called? Why was he called as Mahavir? Did he conquer any battle? Battle of Panipat, Kalinga, anything he conquered? Why is he called as Mahavir? He conquered the self. ये बहुत मुश्किल है, वो आसान है ना. Conquering the external challenges are easy compared to conquering your own mind, conquering your own senses. And he did that. That's why he's called as Mahavir. And Mahavir ji, he followed ahimsa to the T. You understand? And when he was lying down also, it is said that he will lie down not flat on his back. On one side he will lie, because little bit of his body only will be touching the ground, because it can be killing some insects. So you don't want to lie down flat, so that he will be killing more insects. And night throughout he will maintain that posture. What does that mean? He is awake, aware even during sleep. We are all sleeping even when we are awake. We are all moving around like zombies. Isn't it? Oh, वो मिलेगा क्या, ये मिलेगा क्या, वहां जाऊं क्या, इधर जाऊं क्या. We are lost. Even in the waking state. He is awake even in the sleep state. That awareness is maintained 24/7. That is what he is saying. It's a very, very beautiful, deep state. That awareness never goes once he has gone to that height. Continue.
आपूर्यमाणमचलप्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी.
So here again he compares the self-realized soul, enlightened person, to ocean. He gives another example to explain. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat. As the waters enter the ocean, which filled from all sides, what does it do? Remains undisturbed. Tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. Likewise, he in whom all objects of enjoyments enter, attain peace, not the desirer of objects, kama kami. Kama kami is who? You and me. For all desirers of objects. We are lacking, we are thinking we are this individual, therefore there is desire and we are craving for the objects for the world. Right? But the Mahatma is like ocean. The water is filling the ocean, coming from all different sides. Likewise, through the eyes, through the nose, through the tongue, through the skin, through the ears, the world is entering us. Right? Like the waters are entering the ocean from different sides, the sense objects are entering us through different sides. That's what he's saying. And each sense object has different quality, na? Isn't it? Yes or no? So, like that, the rivers coming also has different qualities. They have their own individual traits, no? Isn't it? Some river, water is different from the other. Some is, you say, this is Punya Nadi. Right? So, like that you have different traits, qualities of different rivers. But when they come into the ocean, what happens? They lost all their individual traits. They become ocean. You can't go and separate, ये पानी यहाँ से आया, वो पानी वहाँ से आया, ऐसा कुछ नहीं. सब इकट्ठा होके एक हो गया. You understand? Which means what? It entered and lost the individuality, but gained the totality, has become one. In us, what happens? When the senses come through the different things, does it get digested and become one? Only the consciousness remains, or we go by whatever has come through the ears, eyes, nose, tongue. We are dancing according to the tunes of what is coming in, isn't it? That's what he's saying. But that person is not dancing according to the tunes of the sense perceptions that is entering. His consciousness is always there. That's why he says he attains peace. All the objects of enjoyment are entering him also, like how it is entering you and me. But his consciousness is not disturbed. It is ever maintained. In our case, somebody has to just come and say, you are a buffalo. When you go and look in front of the mirror, you don't look like a buffalo. You know that. So that means that fellow is blabbering. But still you are agitated for another 10 days. You understand? Why is it? Because you are a kama kami, desirer of objects. Therefore, what is happening? There is no control over senses and mind. So, when these things come, they disturb you, they agitate you. You understand? That's what he is saying. So, likewise, he in whom all the objects of enjoyment enter attains peace. A Mahatma attains peace like the ocean. The individuality has lost, the totality is remaining, gained. And the ocean water only has evaporated and has come out, come back as rivers, entering back. Isn't it? So, it is the consciousness that has become the world, and it is entering as color and form, smell, taste, touch, sound. You understand? So, Mahatma is very much aware of this. Just like how the ocean water evaporates, pours down as rain, comes back as river into the ocean. Same way the consciousness only has become the world, and it is entering me again. Why should I get unnecessarily excited or dejected? I will be aware, maintaining that awareness 24/7, not the desirer of objects. Continue.
Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumamscharati nispruhaha nirmamo nirahamkaraha sashantimadhigacchati.
That man means self-realized to soul, who is very rare, therefore that. You understand? This means all of us. Too many people are there. Very obvious. So, that man means very rare person. You understand? Self-realized soul. That man who abandons all desires, who's conquered all the desires and has risen above all the desires, what does he do? Moves about without earning in the world. There is no craving. Right? He is having no desires. He has no craving. Without the sense of I and mine. He has no ahankara, I. He has no mamakara. You understand? This is not mine. There is no separate individuality, no? Ahankara. I explained that to you. Consciousness is functioning through the body, mind, intellect. In me, in you, in everybody. We out of ignorance has assumed ourselves to be the separate individual. But where is the separateness? There is no separateness. It's false ego. You understand? And false ego, anything false, requires tremendous effort to maintain. Truth doesn't require any effort. Agar I said something true, I don't have to support it too much. False, I have to maintain it. Lot of effort is needed. You understand? So he says he has no ego, sense of I, separateness. He's gained the totality. And he has no sense of mindness. The body is functioning. I am not doing anything. Atma doesn't do anything. You understand? I am not doing anything. And none of this is mine. Right? That possessiveness is also not there in such a person. Therefore, he says he attains peace. Means he retains peace. And last shloka, concluding shloka.
Yesha brahmi stiti partha nainam prapya vimuhyati stitva syamanta kalepi brahma nirvana mruchati.
He says, Esha brahmi stiti partha. O Partha, O Arjuna, this is the state of Brahman. Whatever I spoke to you till now, Brahman means Bhrat Tamatvat iti Brahma, which means what? That infinite, which keeps on expanding, no boundary, that is consciousness. There is only one homogeneous mass of consciousness, that is referred to as Brahman. You understand? This is the state of Brahman, O Partha, Arjuna. Attaining this, none is deluded. Once you get there, there is no more falling back again. Once you have become perfect, thereafter again you don't fall back. There is no more getting delusion again. That's what he is saying. Attaining this, none is deluded. Thereafter they are very clear. You understand? being established therein, even at the end of life, supposing you are going on putting in effort, right? But आपको मोक्षा कब मिला? Just 1 hour before dying, let's say, right? Then also you don't have to worry. Why he says, at the end of life also if you got moksha, one attains oneness with Brahman, that oneness remains. There is no more birth for such a person. Because only when there are vasanas, birth is there. When vasanas are not there, where is the birth? You had vasana to study Gita, therefore you are born here. If you had no vasana to study Gita, you will not be born here. You understand? I have vasanas to teach you Gita, I am born here. You understand? So therefore he says, being established therein, even at the end of life, one attains oneness with Brahman. So what is important is, be in the path. Doesn't matter when you get it, but when you get it, it's permanent. Right? So, while living, you get it, you will be aware throughout. At the time of death also you get, whatever extra time you are living before death, it will be there. And after death, there is no more rebirth. That's what he said so far. He is concluded with this shloka, the second chapter. Then in the third chapter, Arjuna will ask question, and then Sri Krishna will continue. That is called Karma Yoga, which we will do next year. Till then, what are you supposed to do? We are going to start weekly classes here by Dr. Anuvi. Please be part of the class, participate in the class, study, reflect, and then we will meet next year. Now, let's conclude. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Sankhya Yogo Nama Dvitiyo Dhyayaha. Om Tat Sat. Om means that supreme reality, that is real. Om Tat Sat, that is the absolute existence. So we always start something with Om Tat Sat, conclude also something with Om Tat Sat. And then he says, thus in the Upanishads of the glorious Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but the summary of the Upanishads, given to Arjuna elaborately. You understand? So thus in the Upanishads of the glorious Bhagavad Gita, what is it talking about? The science of eternal versus ephemeral. So he says the science of eternal, and it's the scripture of yoga. It will help you to unite with the Atma, Brahman. And what is it given in the form of? The dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna. Hence, the second chapter entitled Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. So like Swami Chinmayanandaji says, Gita, you have gone through second chapter. Has the second chapter gone through you? So, you have not really concluded today, you have only started today. To maintain that spirit, we always, when we conclude the Yajna, we chant the first shloka of that chapter. So, let's all chant verse 1 of chapter 2. Right?
Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishtam Ashrupurna Kulekshanam Vishidantamidam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha. So we should retain that spirit that we have started the study today. And it should not stop till we get enlightened. Right? Thank you very much.